with all of the hype around Gordon Sammis, is it possible that TCU fans are actually beginning to overhype their new offensive coordinator? Let's explore this one. Oh, yeah, it's Locked On Horned Frogs. Play my music.
You are Locked On Horned Frogs, your daily podcast on the TCU Horned Frogs. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's going on, family? I'm Darian Gray, a.k.a. the Mouth of the South, host of your favorite one-stop shop for everything TCU athletics, Monday through Friday. You'll know it better as the Locked On Horned Frogs podcast, though. Thank you for making this your first listen of the day every day and making Locked On the #1 sports podcast network in the country. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. And if you want to be right in the middle of the action this season, visit FanDuel.com and place your NFL live bets all season long. We close out today's episode with a conversation. Kendal Briles apparently got an extension a year ago that nobody knew about and then left the next season. What does it mean, if it even means anything? Segment 2, TCU top 25 rushing offense. Is it in their future? Because it certainly is in Gordon Sammis' past. But today's kicks off with, of course, Sarah Smith from KCEN. And we're still talking Sammis. There's been so much hype around Sammis that I thought it'd be interesting to look at some of the concerns that I've heard people express. Let's look at this as a play of sorts in which we present, mostly I will present those gripes and those concerns. Sarah will mostly rebuttal those, and I'll chime in as well. But it's interesting to see why people think that this will flop, why people are overexcited. So the question is the Gordon Sammis hire beginning to become overhyped? I'm going to say, you know what? Everybody treating it like it's a savior. Everybody treating it as if Gordon Sammis comes to town, snaps his fingers like Thanos, and half the problems of TCU just vanish. It's not how it works. That's not how it works. One coach can fix some issues. One coach can have a specialty somewhere, but I don't even know if the offensive line is going to be solved immediately, because oftentimes there's so much chemistry. There's so much just working together and compatibility that is required at offensive line. I don't even know if he's going to be able to get his guys in right away. And that's the biggest concern. No one wants to say it because it hasn't been that way for the last couple of years. This feels like an all-in year for TCU because Josh Hoover's going into his last year. He don't have much eligibility left. So I'm going to need a coordinator who's going to come in. And here's my thing. TCU fans are all sitting over here wondering or treating Gordon Sammis as if he's some hot shot who's been all over the SEC, Big 12, ACC. Like they got him from Alabama, who was the offensive coordinator, and they convinced him to leave the Tide on a playoff run. That's not what happened. Gordon Sammis is a UConn, University of Connecticut offensive coordinator. That's a low-level independent. Why are we acting as if he's played on this level, as if he's coached on this level? That's not what his resume looks like. So we need to stop acting like it's not going to be any speed bumps, like nothing's going to go wrong. In my opinion, treating him like the savior when he's never done it at this level is extremely irresponsible, and that's where the overhype comes in. I don't understand why you were so why you were so convinced that it's going to work year one. Just don't make sense to me.
Okay. I was keeping track of your flow, and my first comment to you kind of saying how TCU fans are taking this hire as if he's like the savior of TCU football. And I think that just directly shows you the state of TCU fans and how they feel about how Kendal Briles ran the offense. Fans are in the state of, it's so bad that literally anybody could do a better job. And so that's where we're getting this praise of him. And don't sleep on him just because he's from UConn. They're still an FBS team. And mind you, he has what TCU wants to accomplish on his resume. It's not like he's entering the Horned Frog community with nothing to show for it. He was talking to Sonny Dykes about, what are we looking for next? We want to run the ball more, and TCU wants less interceptions. What does Sammis do? He runs the ball and throws less interceptions. UConn's quarterback had one interception? 1 this season. You know how many Josh Hoover had? 13. And it was literally a meme on this podcast that Josh Hoover would literally throw his 1 int per game and he would still win. Like it was just due for that interception. And there's a coach coming in that the stats don't lie about what he's able to do. Do I think he is, the next coming of Jesus Christ for TCU football? No. But I think that this hire is a great step in the right direction for TCU. It's a step up from Kendal Briles, and the offensive line in the run game. That's like the biggest question mark, and this guy has the resume to improve on that. To hopefully 2-3 years down the road, find a more permanent, high-level replacement that can really carry TCU to the sky and more.
Yeah, I hear you, and it sounds great. When we talk about Hoover, he's not coaching that out of Hoover. He's not coaching it out of Hoover. He just isn't. That's who Hoover is. Hoover's going to throw your picks. He's going to rush. He's going to panic. Or are we also acting like he cures everything? When I say the savior, it goes all the way around. Yeah, he can run the football, but he's not a quarterback guru. That's not what he does. He's an offensive line guy. And yes, he has an offensive coordinator, a couple of years of that in his resume. But if he was a quarterback guy, maybe I have more confidence that he could get Hoover down from 13-1 or more realistically 13-2, 3, 4. Right? Like, I shouldn't have said more realistically and said 2, but more so 4-7. That's not who he is. He's an offensive line guy, someone who's going to give you some protection. We've already talked about how that may not come together right away. But I just don't know. Everybody points to Hoover. This is a run-first offense. I don't even know if Hoover's going to be able to flourish in this. What does TCU's offense look like without a flourishing Josh Hoover? I don't know. You tell me. Maybe I'm looking at all the wrong aspects of it.
I know. I feel like usually I'm the one to be pretty negative here, but an improved offensive line will make Josh Hoover more comfortable and panic less because he's not getting pressured every single play. And the offensive line has been something that teachers need to improve on for a couple years now. And so I don't know. I think he can coach it down out of Hoover. One thing that I've noticed out of Josh Hoover is that he really doesn't let these mistakes rattle him. He still comes back every play, and tries his best. And I think I think that he can be mended and really fix these mistakes. Will it go from 13-1? Probably not. That's, a crazy ask. But I think it's reasonable to expect that the interception number that Josh Hoover will throw will be down, as the run game getting good will just take less pressure off of him to make risky throws that lead to interceptions, because he knows that the run game is dependable and reliable.
All right, and scene. God bless those who entered in the middle of an episode and just thought I was absolutely slandering. But I think that we played our roles very well, addressed it. I do want to say something on that last point. Everything she said is absolutely on point. Absolutely on point. When you look at what the running game does for quarterback play, it is going to take pressure off of the shoulders of Josh Hoover. And I know what it looks like when you don't have to have Josh Hoover flourish. It looks like the game versus Cincinnati.
Yeah.
That's what it looks like when done well. And if you're throwing one interception, it's either because you're throwing the ball away at an incredible clip, which he isn't, or you're probably not asked to do a lot down the field, right? Maybe even, and I can't wait till I get a chance to check out some more UConn film, right? That's kind of difficult to find when it comes to college football, but I will be watching, and I'll have the recording of their bowl game where you get to see Sammis as the head coach. So that'll be interesting. I think that they have so many good properties. And we're going to talk about this as the weeks go on, right? Like, this is not a decision that we're just going to leave at today, leave at the hire. We talked about Kendal Briles probably 4 days last week. But no, we talked about him 3 out of the 4 days. And then Sammis was hired on Friday. So then we talked about Sammis on Friday. This is the biggest ongoing story at the biggest sport on this university's campus. So this is something to definitely keep delving into. But yeah, Sarah, I think that last point is the best, that a good running game is going to help out Josh Hoover. And the quarterback, Fagnano, he still threw a lot of passes. He still threw 413 passes. So it's not as if the quarterback was inactive. You still had a heavy running game and you had a heavy passing attack. But speaking of heavy running games, let's go ahead and dive into that a little bit deeper, because not only is he running the ball a lot at UConn, Sammis actually has a history of successfully running the football on a national level that Sarah wants to bring to our attention. So we'll allow her to do that because we want to hear about it. We need to hear about it as we continue with Locked On Horned Frogs. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. And if you want to make a little bit of extra money on this bowl game, you can. Bowl games are such a weird thing to put money on because you never know who's going to play, what team is going to have their top players. You may be scared to even make any bets before the game. That's where FanDuel comes in, because you don't have to make the bets before the game with their live bets. You can talk about who's going to score the next touchdown. That's based off who's on the field. Or maybe college games right now at this point are just too risky for you. Go to the NFL live bets, right? What are the Kansas City Chiefs going to do without Mahomes? I think a lot of people are going to put some money on them losing, and you could be one of those who make some money from that. Or maybe you're the genius who says they're still going to pull off a great win because Andy Reid is Andy Reid. Make money on that. There are so many different ways. All you have to do is go to FanDuel.com. College ball, that goes football and basketball, men and women. You got pro ball on the NFL and the NBA side. Yeah, the Cup. I think the Cup actually just ended yesterday. So there's so many different ways to make some money on the sports. Just go to FanDuel.com and make every moment more. As we continue rolling on today's episode of Locked On Horned Frogs, I appreciate you for making this your first listen of the day every day and making Locked On the #1 sports podcast network. Now, you already live your team every day. It's time for you to take it up a level, though. Go ad-free with it. Join the Everydayer Club and get Locked On Horned Frogs with 0 interruptions. Also, you get a members-only Discord so we can talk. We can have you become a part of the show, not just a listener. So I can bring comments, things that were said, shout-outs on the show. Happy birthday to whoever's birthday it may be. Things like that. You get all of that. $5. $50 a year if you go ahead and sign up for the yearly plan. Just go to lockedonhornedfrogs.supercast.com or check the link in show notes below. Now, one thing that's interesting is Gordon Sammis, his ability to run the ball is by far the reason that TCU fans are excited. That I don't want to downplay what he does through the air, but the fact that he runs the ball, and Kendal Briles didn't, is the reason that people are all the way through the roof. I think that is a fair statement. Wouldn't you say?
1000%.
But let's drive home just how well that Gordon Sammis has ran the ball, not just based off of last year, but also the years before, the 2 years that he served as the offensive coordinator at UConn.
Yes. In his first year as the offensive coordinator at UConn was 2024. He ranked 22 nationally in the offensive run game. And I think he was averaging 199 yards per game. That's probably 199 more yards than TCU average. I'm being dramatic. But that is just really good and was super attractive for TCU when looking for somebody to replace Briles. And the run game has just been such a big question mark for TCU all season and has been the key missing to having a productive offense. Like we were just talking about, having a good run game, I think, will in turn lower Hoover's interceptions just because the pressure isn't all on him to get the ball downfield. And something interesting that I want to note, and it's not that Sammis doesn't pass the ball. You know, he has a balanced run and pass game. Here's an interesting stat is that in 2024, here's a little supplemental one. They had 2590 rushing yards with 2579 passing yards. That's one off from being like exactly the same number. And this is what I'm looking for at a TCU. I think the perfect balance of Hoover's passing game plus the running back room really working together will just be monumental for TCU. And I'm not saying that, this guy's going to come in and just, be a superstar and turn things around like this and boom, TCU's back in the national championship. That's not what I'm saying. I would like to
overhyped. I told you, overhyped.
That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that this foundation of being a run-first offense, I think, will really set TCU up for success next season and allow them to pick, a better option. Maybe that's more long-term in the years to come. Also,
Can I stop you right there? That's the second time you said that. I don't quite, when you say a better option long-term, I just want you to specify exactly what you mean, just for clarity.
Well, it just seems like, he's not going to turn around the program. I think his hire is a stepping stone in the right direction for TCU. And maybe my opinion on this will change if we see a really productive run offense from him next season. I could be like, okay, this guy's here to stay for a long time.
Oh, so you're saying that maybe it's like a bridge hire to another guy? Is that what you? I don't want to put words in your mind.
That's what I'm that's what I'm getting at. I think fans were so desperate for something other than Briles. So here's a guy that has a resume that really aligns with what TCU needs at most right now. TCU's bleeding out on the table. Here's the saving medicine right here. I think that he's a great stepping stone in TCU's journey to maybe, have a chance of getting an SEC hire or a Big Ten hire if that becomes available in the years to come. We'll just have to see. That's kind of how I feel.
Yeah,
but, you never know.
I don't want to derail from your stat of the week, but I'm sorry. This is, to me, such an interesting premise that I have not heard anybody articulate it that way or speak about, not even articulate it that way, but to have that feeling on it, let alone articulate it that way. So we have to dig into this just briefly, at least. If he is a bridge, let's play through that. If he is a bridge under his own volition, that means he went and got another job somewhere else. That's good for TCU. It may sting because that means he's created a really good offense. But at the same time, that would be good for TCU in the sense that he's created a really good offense. Now you just got to figure out a way to sustain it.
I think his creating a really good offense will make TCU more attractive to SEC and Big Ten coaches that might overlook the Big 12, honestly, because, I feel like a lot of people love to count us out. And then I also feel like maybe Texas Tech, putting some street credit on the Big 12's name in this championship coming up will just, give some more notice to the Big 12 that, hey, we're here. We can play on your level.
That's just, it's difficult. If he's doing well to say we're going to swap you out without him choosing to leave.
Well, that's kind of, I guess maybe I'd counterpoint to what I was saying. Because I was saying I'm not 100% on him being a bridge, but I was kind of also said that if we do get a really great season out of him next season, then, I think that is looking more promising to buy in on him long term. But, I got commitment issues. I got commitment issues. I got to see what you're made of first.
And I'm saying, if he's not good and he's a bridge because he's not good, wholesale changes.
I think everything's got to blow up if that's the case.
I do think
something's going wrong.
Yeah,
I think fire everybody and start over.
If he does not help, I don't know how long a leash. We talked about that a countless number of times, but I do think that if in general nothing changes, the offense isn't that good, the TCU team as a whole still doesn't become competitive, and he's a bridge because of that, it's going to be because everybody got let go. I have not heard it said that way. And I'm not going to say that that is a terrible way to look at it, but it is against the grain. That has kind of a negative connotation. It's a form that I don't normally hear people speak of it. So that's fascinating. As far as the run game, because I don't want to ignore the stat of the week. That is great. That is
we kind of got off a little tangent here, but
no, I love tangents. Tangents are amazing. Okay, don't ever apologize for a tangent, especially one that creates new thoughts. I may even do a segment on that. So I appreciate the tangent, but for the run game, there is a hope for TCU. There is no greater reason for excitement than to have a green flag where there was a red flag. There's no greater reason, right? So you see a guy who is going to come in and run the football, be able to get the run game to work. And here's the truth. Most fans are going to look at it as Gordon Sammis can fix the run game. Josh Hoover's a good quarterback. Pass game will be all right. That's the way that most fans will look at it. And there's a chance that that is true. Also, I would like to say that Sammis, as you mentioned, has been balanced. He has also gotten a really good passing attack out of his quarterbacks. He had a 3,000-yard passer this year. So it's not as if he had a wide receiver who was there for the Biletnikoff finalists. It's not as if he doesn't pass the ball. So the idea that he only runs, not true. But running is 100% his specialty. It is what he does the best. It is the reason for excitement with this team.
Yeah,
I'm fascinated. Gosh, you don't understand what that tangent just did. That is great. And I hope everybody appreciates it. One thing that we can look into a little bit, and I don't think it's a large talking point, but it's something to touch on, is that Kendal Briles got an extension a year before he actually left, and nobody knew about it. Not a soul knew about it. That's just peculiar to me. That's just strange and odd. So
it is. I thought you were telling me fake news when you asked me about it earlier. I was like, why can't I find anything about this online? Like, did I miss the whole chapter of Briles at TCU?
No. So let's get into that. Let's dig into what that could mean, if anything, as we continue with Locked On Horned Frogs. Today's episode is brought to you by Omaha Steaks, and the holidays are here. Whether you're hosting family or planning the perfect gift or just trying to keep things simple and delicious, Omaha Steaks is making it easier than ever. From effortless holiday entertaining to unforgettable gifts, Omaha Steaks delivers the world's best steak experience straight to your door. Maybe you're having folks over, put that on the grill. People gonna forget about the turkey and ham, right? And I love me some ham. Omaha Steaks make my memory go bad. I'm just trying to let you know what the truth is. I've sent Omaha Steaks as a gift before. Never got a stronger thank you, stronger endorsement of the gift. So save big on the gourmet gifts and holiday favorites with Omaha Steaks. Visit omahasteaks.com, and for an extra $35 off, use the code COLLEGE at checkout. Terms apply. See site for details. That's omahasteaks.com, promo code COLLEGE. As we're wrapping up today's episode of Locked On Horned Frogs, I appreciate you for making this your first listen of the day, every day, making it all the way to segment 3. And I thank you 2 times for that. Thank you. Thank you. I'm feeling like I'm in the holiday spirit. I wanted to have my little Christmas sweater on, probably sprinkle a few of these. I got like 2, 3 of them. I'll probably sprinkle a few. There you go. It's somewhere there. There we go. La, 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 la. There we go. Feliz Navidad, Sarah. Anyway, technically, oh, no, I was going to say our episode would be on Christmas, but it wouldn't. Christmas Eve, though. It would be Christmas Eve next week. Anywho, Warren Sapp, before we get to Kendal Briles, I don't know if you saw this. Warren Sapp said that Texas football was a joke. I'm not here to defend Texas football, high school football. I'm talking about Texas high school football. I'm not here to defend it. I think it doesn't need defending. But, God, what a dumb thing to say as a coach, knowing you recruit in that area.
As somebody who is born and raised a Texan, graduated from Westlake High School, sat next to Drew Brees' parents at football games, I got the credentials. We beat Lake Travis in the rivalry. If you're from Texas, that is so offensive. Like, what is Duncanville? What is North Shore? What is Katy?
Yeah, that was just...
I feel like I just got rage baited with that comment. But
no, he said he deleted it, but it's there. I don't care for him to have his opinion. I don't care that he has his opinion. I care for it because he was speaking up in favor of Florida. And Florida has great high school football, right? So I don't even want to make it a Florida in Texas. I don't want to make it into Texas versus Florida. I just think as a coach who's going to do some recruiting, that's going to rub some recruits the wrong way. Now, maybe because you think you got Dion on your side, you can, scrub all that over. Maybe you can. But boy, that was a strong miscalculation by a coach at a collegiate program.
People just be saying stuff these days. People just be saying stuff.
Yeah, that was risk. Coaches are going to see it. Kids are going to see it. Digital footprints last forever. Rain don't wash those away. So anyway, to Kendal Briles, he had an extension a year ago, and he left a year later. To me, that tells me he really just wanted a fresh start. Because I also don't think that, though this year was frustrating, a lot of the concerns are multi-year concerns from TCU fans. And of course, in a second, Sarah, tell me if I'm wrong in that. But it felt like the concerns were multi-year. I don't know if there was anything this year that just felt like an absolute breaking point to where he would have lost his job.
Yeah.
Maybe the contract just didn't get re-upped. And this came from 24/7. Fort Worth Star-Telegram had doubled down on, I think Jeremy Clark from 24/7 is the one who reported this happened. And then Steven Johnson came and confirmed that TCU told them a week before Briles left that this happened. They just never announced it, which is also very weird that they didn't announce it, right?
They didn't announce it because they knew that everybody was going to hate it.
Probably so, to be honest. I don't know if it says anything about his departure, but it does tell me how much he wanted a fresh start. That's what it tells me about his departure, that he just wanted to do something new. And quite frankly, he was at a place that was never going to fully accept him. I don't know how much the percentage of the fan base wasn't going to like him.
Well, I think we would have accepted him if he was any good. But
I think he had to be great. I think he probably had to be great. If I had to guess, I think he probably had to be great to be accepted. He had to definitely not do what he did. He was, to me, I said it before, he was good, not great. And sometimes he went below average at times, right? But I think he, in general, did some good things to where if he didn't have the last name and he didn't have the school affiliation he used to have, and I care a little bit more about the last name than the affiliation, to be honest. But if it wasn't for that, I wonder how they would have spoken about him, TCU fans. But I think he understood, like, hey, I'm not going to be accepted here. I'm not going to be welcomed. And maybe, why did that take so long? Who knows? But I do feel like after getting some job security, choosing to leave to a school like South Carolina, which is not a premier SEC school, right? Like, you didn't go to Bama or anything. You went to South Carolina, and you're going to be fighting there too. Just tells me he really felt the need for a change of scenery.
Yeah, I guess I kind of disagree a little bit. I guess I don't think his leaving is that serious. I think it's pretty common for athletic directors when they come in, when they leave, they want to bring their people with them. And so that's kind of what I think, because obviously Donati is at South Carolina now, and Briles was here with him. So that's kind of why I think he also chose South Carolina of any other place to go. And also we got Mike Buddy in here. We got a new man of the house in the TCU athletics department. So he probably wants to, in turn, bring in his people, as, an athletic director would do. At least that's kind of what I think about it. So best of luck to you, Briles. My brother's fiance is a big Gamecocks fan, and I told her, good luck. I told her good luck.
Yeah, and to be fair, I do think that having the former AD played a part in why he chose South Carolina. I just still find it a tad bit odd that he wanted to leave. I don't want to make it sound super deep. It's not super deep. I don't want to make it sound super deep that he wasn't accepted, but I do think he wanted a change of scenery, and I think about why he would want to change of scenery, and I do think that he just wasn't comfortable. If I had to think of a reason, if I had to put myself, I think if most people had to put themselves in Kendal Briles' shoes, they probably also would not be happy, because the things that they're talking about, well, he had a bad thing. These are all reasons to fire Kendal Briles. No one's really presenting reasons on why Kendal Briles would want to leave. Like people say, the talent's here. Well, why would Briles want to leave the talent? And
he could have just hit him with the, you can't fire me because I quit. So that could have been.
That's the thing. Maybe that's the other thing. Maybe I just don't think he was going to get fired. Like the extension makes me feel like he was a little bit more secure than we spoke about. That's what I feel like. Like, I feel like he had more security than I originally believed. So now I feel because I would have also said, oh, he left before he could get fired. I probably would have said that.
Yeah.
If it was just like 2 weeks ago, I probably would have, oh, well, he knew he's probably gonna be on the way out the door. Or I pointed to the idea of Dykes' job security, though I don't think Beamer's job security is that high in South Carolina either, to be honest. But I pointed to Dykes' job. I pointed to a bunch of things. But hearing that he had an extension, knowing that Sonny Dykes wasn't going to be fired, right?
Yeah.
Just feel like, okay, you were ready to move on. Of anything else, we can address different or attribute different reasons to it. But I think that now I know Kendal Briles is just ready to go. And I think that everybody is happy about this divorce. There's some divorces where people, oh, I can't believe you served me those papers. No, I think everybody involved was pretty happy with the decision. Yeah. Now, tomorrow, I don't know what route we're going to take it tomorrow. We got a couple of things. Thursday and Friday is going to be interesting. We'll be talking about, may talk a little Cam Edwards, the running back from Connecticut, may talk a little offensive line, right? But I know that at least one of the next 2 days is going to be something related to Sammis. And who knows, maybe we'll talk about the idea of how fast it needs to work, because is he a bridge? Yikes. That's a scary premise, but it's one that we'll dive into at some point, because Sarah Smith is a genius. So if you don't remember anything from this episode, remember that. In the meantime, in between time, though, till next time that we hear each other, family, take care. Stay blessed. Peace.